If it were up to me, I think you should be able to do two things at once, chew gum and walk, or whatever the stupid expression is, but we can't. This week, the House is going to vote again on extending the Obamacare subsidies. Remember, we shut the government down for it. Nothing's happened for weeks. They went home. I wanted Jim Jordan tonight. Why? He's a big voice within his party. He's also saying something right now that is not so popular in his party. He said it. He actually said it last month, that you got to extend the subsidies. Why? Because it's just part of the reality, and it should go hand in hand with a bunch of reforms. It just didn't happen. Now, I took a look at why he would say this, and I thought, oh, maybe his district is really heavy with ACA, or Ohio, his state, is really heavy. Nope. It's below the national averages considerably on both scales. So it's not because he had to do this because it's going to bite him in the behind in his primary or in his election. So I want to talk to him about what we're learning about what could come next in Venezuela. He's going to have a meeting and be briefed about it. What are his concerns? And what is the realistic chance of doing anything about what has the level of urgency here, which is cost of living? Ohio Republican member of Congress, chair of the House Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan joins me now. Happy New Year. It's good to have you, sir.
Good to be with you. You too, Chris. Good to be with you. Happy New Year.
Getting a preference on oil? Good. American boots on the ground? America running Venezuela? Are these things you are open to?
Well, I want to go back to your fundamental question. You asked right at the start of your good monologue, you asked, is it a good thing or bad thing? Obviously, it's a good thing. I mean, here was a guy who wasn't recognized as the head of state by the Biden administration or the Trump administration. Here's a guy who was running a narco-terrorist criminal operation. Here's a guy who had a 5-year arrest warrant out for him. Here's a guy who was playing footsie with China and Iran right here in our hemisphere. So, of course, it's a good thing that he is no longer in power. It's good for America. It's good for the people of Venezuela. We all get that. So I think that fundamental question is definitely a good thing. This president does, I think every action he takes is designed to be in the best interest of our country, the best interest of the people of our country. This was a decision consistent with the actions President Trump has taken, whether that's on domestic policy, cutting taxes, securing the border, or whether that's on foreign policy, making sure Iran doesn't get nuclear capabilities, getting the hostages back to Israel, and now with Maduro in Venezuela.
Well, look, if it was such a no-brainer, then why did he do it in secret? Why wasn't there an articulated and debated plan about it? Why haven't we ever seen anything like it before?
Because it was such a precision kind of operation that they had to do. And God bless our military. What they pulled off here, truly amazing. The courage, the precision which they executed this operation, I think is just phenomenal. So, again, a testimony to the good men and women who put on the uniform and do these kind of things for our country. So I think that's the reason why it wasn't fully debated and talked about out there. But we're getting a briefing tomorrow. Some members have already got a briefing yesterday from the White House, and we'll move forward from there.
All right, so let's talk about moving forward, because you can't look at it in a vacuum. Getting rid of Maduro is a good thing, and that's the end of the analysis, because it's about how and what it means now, right? Getting rid of Maduro, but America's going to run Venezuela, very different proposition than just getting rid of him and bringing him here for prosecution. Putting American boots on the ground for the oil fields, very different proposition. Who's next after Venezuela? Very different proposition than just it's good because Maduro's a bad guy. Well, what do you think of those externalities?
No. I mean, the simple answer is we'll see. We don't know, but I do. Again, I come back to
you think you want a campaign on we'll see? We'll see if we put American boots on the ground to protect Venezuelan oil?
Again, I don't know that that's happening. What I do know is I trust President Trump and the decisions he makes for our country, and I trust the team around him, Secretary Rubio and others, to do this in the best interest of our country, just like he did with other things. I think the American people appreciate a commander-in-chief who projects strength, a commander-in-chief who takes decisive action, particularly as compared to the guy we had in there before. I mean, I use the example, but I think it is real. I mean, President Trump took decisive action with Iran and their nuclear capability, and I think that's why we got the hostages back to Israel. He took decisive action here for a bad guy that everyone recognized was a bad guy. Contrast that with Joe Biden. Joe Biden let a Chinese spy balloon fly clear across the country before he shot it down. Literally one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. So I think the American people appreciate that. They trust the president on these kind of issues and domestic policy issues. And I think we'll just have to see how this shakes out going forward. But I trust the decisions he's made. And because I've seen what he's done before, I trust what's going to happen as we move forward.
70% of people polled before hearing we're going to keep the oil, we're going to put boots on the ground, and maybe we'll buy Greenland. 70% of American people polled had concerns about what happens next in Venezuela because of what has happened so far. This isn't just an animal of my own mind. And the president doesn't have to be a terrible person and untrustworthy for these decisions and what may come next to be questioned in advance.
Well, I think the president's pointing out and making the case to the American people that Venezuela took over American assets from American companies. They're getting energy out of the ground for the world, frankly. So I think that this is not about necessarily oil for America. We've got plenty of oil here. We got West Texas and all kinds of other places.
I agree.
This is about making sure China and Iran don't get access to all that.
I get it.
And the fact that they just took it from American companies, American taxpayers, American shareholders and everything else, I think that is a real concern, and he's making that case to the American people.
I get it, and he's welcome to make the case. It's part of his job. He's welcome to make it here, as are you. So when we're talking about Venezuela, it winds up, you know, everyone says you can walk and chew gum at the same time. Both of you know that that is not a political reality in the country right now. The midterms, where you are in Ohio and all across this country, people are worried about what's happening in their own home with the cost of living. You have talked about this, in fairness to you. You, unlike many in your party, said, look, I don't like that we need the subsidies for the ACA, but we do right now. It should be among the list of reforms that we put into this package. They didn't listen to you. Why did you make that case when it is politically unpopular in your party?
Well, the case I made was, first of all, we should be honest about Obamacare. Everything they told us about it turned out to be false. Like your plan, keep your plan. Like your doctor, keep your doctor. Premiums will go down. They were 0 for 3. So one of the things I think Republicans need to do, and we do, I think we do, is we tell the truth and we fix things. Democrats tend to do the opposite. So tell the truth about Obamacare. It didn't work. We all know it didn't work. And now we're going to give an enhanced subsidy, continue that to insurance companies. So I'm totally against that. But what I said was, if we do real reform that increases choice and competition. Everyone knows subsidies drive up price. Choice and competition bring down price. So if we do a real package that's going to help all Americans, all families, all premiums, if we do that and we have to do something short term for the expanded tax credit in the Affordable Care Act, I'm willing to go for that package. But if it's just the Affordable Care Act extension, no way. I've never voted for any of this Obamacare stuff, and I don't plan on starting now unless it's done in a way where we can get real reform for all the families I get the privilege of representing in the 4th District of Ohio. That's the case I made to our conference. That's what got reported, and that's accurate, not the fact that I would just vote to extend the subsidy.
No, I didn't mean to suggest otherwise. And I happen to agree with your fundamental position that you need to do a lot more than just address the subsidies. But, you know, Jim, you want to tell the truth, tell the whole truth, right? The ACA was a heritage conservative idea. That's what Romney put into play in Massachusetts. And the linchpin of it was what? The mandate to make sure you had the healthy people in there. The ACA has been limited in its effectiveness in no small part because you guys have tried to kill it from jump. Never tried to make it better, discouraged red states from expanding Medicaid, and got rid of the mandate at the Supreme Court level, which crippled it. Fair?
Chris, we didn't promise keep your plan, like your plan, keep your plan. We didn't promise like your doctor, keep your doctor.
No, you promised.
That's what Obama said.
You promised to get rid of it.
None of that turned out to be true.
I know, but it didn't turn out to be true in part because you never helped it be true. That's all I'm saying. You never helped that plan once.
This is Obamacare, and the Democrats are the one who did the subsidy. They're the one who enhanced it, and now they want to extend it again, even though the whole system is falling apart. The Obamacare system is falling apart. So, yeah, part of that is because the Obamacare said you got to have everything in every policy. If you're a 70-year-old couple, you still got to have maternity coverage. Those kind of things are just ridiculous. So we want plans with choice and competition because we know that will bring down price, not mandating all this certain coverage and mandating Obamacare like it was done.
I agree with what you need to do now. I disagree with how we got here and the Republicans' role of inaction and negative action against the plan, which still wound up covering more people, but it's not affordable. Costs are everything, and it's a really fundamental thing that you live in Ohio every day, Jim. Here's what happened. We made a choice in this country at a certain point, before you were in my time, really, where wages would not be a reflection of productivity and price structure anymore. That margin is going to go a little bit to the C-suites and a lot to the investors and not to labor. So wages just haven't kept up with the cost of living, and it's crushing people across the country. And a big part of that cost structure is cost of care and insurance across the board, driving, property. All of my insurances just went up.
I agree.
The president said something that got that got waved away, Jim, that I really hope you guys bring up to him. He said, I'm going to invite all the big shots from the healthcare companies in here and have a meeting with them, with the heads of Congress, and say, hey, we're going to make some changes. It's going to be with you or without you. It's the best idea I've heard come out of his mouth in this administration. What's the chance it happens, and are you pushing for it?
We certainly are, but I think that was something he stressed in his remarks to us today, is don't give this enhanced money to insurance companies. Give it to the American people and let them exercise choice. Let them create more competition, which will bring down premiums. So yeah, we need to bring down the cost. The gas prices right now are down. God bless President Trump and some of the regulatory reform we've done. Those are down. We need to bring other prices down, like the cost of buying a new home. Young couples today, it's tough to buy a home because of the rates are so high and everything else. That, I think, will come down over time. When the big, beautiful bill actually gets to fully kick in with the tax cuts and everything else, I think that will help. I think this campaign is real simple. We're going to go tell the voters what we've done. I think we've done a lot of good things. Tell them other things we want to continue to get done on price and everything else. And frankly, remind them how crazy the left is. The left which said we're not going to have a border when Joe Biden was president. The left that said we should defund the police. The left that said men should compete against women in sports. Go remind them of all the crazy positions the left had and what we've done to help them in so many ways. That's this campaign, and I think we're going to be in a good position when we get to the fall.
You're going to have to defend the tariffs, defend the cost of living at that point in time. And that's the old left. That's not the new left. The left is not arguing for those things now. They are all about affordability, and rightly so. They're not about transgender sports. Sure, they'll argue for fairness and equality. They're about affordability. That's the fight, Jim.
The new left is saying that we need to get rid of rugged individualism and replace it with collectivism. That's one of the scariest things I've ever heard.
One mayor.
That will lead to shortages.
That's one mayor in New York
City. One mayor who's the poster child for today's left. That is frightening. I mean, this country was the Lewis and Clark, the Wright brothers. It was all about rugged individualism that made this the greatest nation ever. And he's saying we need to replace that with this communist collective model. That's the craziest stuff I've ever heard. And I will be telling voters about that across our state and across this country.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will, because you want to play the guy as a boogeyman, but he's just one guy. And the people who are going to be running for office will be making their own case. I know he said it. I'm not defending what he said. I'm saying he's just one guy.
In your great city. In your great city,
believe me,
one guy
I'm
who got elected mayor of our largest city, your city.
Jim, I know who he is. I know how he got there. I lived it. I get it. Jim, I appreciate you making the case. You're always welcome to do so here. Have a good new year. Let's keep having the discussion. Take care. Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.